two aspects of an autograph show. One is going out in front of the public, and people are in a line, and they come through, and they bring their stuff that they'd like to have signed, and you sign that for them. They buy tickets for that. And then there's what you call, backstage, and back there is where you have the vendors that have brought the same type of stuff in, but they bring it in trucks, and they have all the requests, and or they may want you to sign 10 helmets that they're going to put in their inventory and sell, maybe they'll get them out around Christmas time or whenever they feel there's a market for it. So I'm in the back, and I'm going around through there, and this one guy, he's set up, he bought a ticket, and he wants me to sign. At the time, I didn't know. He said, "Hey, listen, I'm your biggest fan. I love it. I've got something so special for you to sign." And so I go over there, and he's got this burgundy and gold helmet from the era that I played in, with the logo and all this stuff. And he says, I'm a friend of Joe Klecko's, and Joe Klecko gave this to me. This is your helmet. This is your game. I'm looking at it, and I go, it looked authentic to me. He says, and I said, "No, that's not my helmet." He says, "Yes, it is. Joe Klecko gave it to me. He traded you. You guys traded." Now, this guy's telling me about my life and what I did and didn't do. He said, "You guys traded at a Pro Bowl." And I'm thinking to myself, I only went to one, and Joe Klecko wasn't there.
He wasn't in the league then, was he?
No, not when I went to that first Pro Bowl. He wasn't. I never played with Joe on the Jets. He came about 4 or 5 years later, or 3 or 4 years later. So, and then I explained that. He says, "Well, it's like he's going as fast as he can." "Well, then he traded after some game." I went, "Look, I don't want to be a bad guy here," but I said, "That's not my helmet." I said, "I had the same helmet the entire time I played for the Burgundy and Gold. In fact, I have it at home. I only wore it, and the helmet I had's got 78 inside of it. And that used to be the guard from San Diego they got, and I can't think of his name, but I will. It used to, what's his name? But anyway, I inherited, Walt Sweeney. I inherited Walt Sweeney's helmet. Walt was quite a character, so the helmet that he wore fit very nicely on me. But I had that helmet the whole time. But the interesting thing here is this guy threw me for such a loop. Because it had, there were two, decal 4s on the back of the helmet. I never wore a helmet that had numbers on it.
I never saw that.
And this
now
guy,
it's getting
and
deeper.
The whole time, this is what I talk about when you're so confident. And he was to a certain extent, but he had me thinking, did I forget? Did Joe Klecko and I'm starting to question I'm going, I guess I was a wild man because I don't remember this. That Joe Klecko, I don't ever remember meeting Joe Klecko, let alone trading helmets with him. And why would I, if I was out of my mind at some bar because I drank too much, why would I have my helmet with me? And so that's the only explanation. So for about 5 to 10 minutes after I did this, because once again, this is a proverbial turd in a punch bowl moment. and I was the guy that put it there, and it was, where do you go with that? So I'm starting to sign, after that I'm signing these autographs, and in the back of my mind, I'm still trying to go, and I'm having trouble signing the autographs because I can't focus on exactly what I'm supposed to put on it besides my name. And I keep thinking, man, did I do it? Because the helmet really looked real. I'm going, no, I've got my own helmet at home. So
did you call Lisa Marie to make sure?
No, I didn't call her. But when I got home, I told her the story, and I said, I've got my own helmet, right? And she said, yeah, it's downstairs. I said, okay. I didn't go down and look, which I think I will tonight. I was too tired to last night. Talk about an awkward moment.
So you're talking in the back of the helmet with the numbers.
There were two fairly large white 4s on the back.
You guys never had that, did you? I don't ever recall that. Do you, Kev?
No.
I don't know, but Joe Klecko's on line 1. He wants to talk to you.
Saying, Riggo, you don't remember?
Yeah.
So here's the way I see it, and this is what happens all the time. That somebody, and I'm not saying, I have no idea, but I think it is perhaps an authentic helmet of that vintage. And that somebody actually got possession of it, and then somebody attached a story to it about how Joe Klecko gave it to them, who had traded me for it at a Pro Bowl or at a Pro Bowl, and so. But you know what? I'm not a Riggins fan, and I hate Washington, so what's this thing worth? Probably $500 to $1,000. You know what? This thing's worth a lot of money because it doesn't mean anything to me. I'm going to give you a deal on it and sell it to you for $300.
Now, that's writer's embellishment right there.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's the way it went down?
Yes.
I would guess
And
that.
sadly,
And and there was the other thing I noticed, but I didn't because I just cut to the chase immediately. I did not go for a second to go, well, maybe. There was just because there was no. I felt like if there was no wiggle room for that. It plain wasn't my helmet. There's nothing I could do about it. But I saw that there was a document. They had and I got to believe
a certificate of authenticity.
I think they wanted me to basically state that this was the helmet that I wore when I played for the Burgundy and Gold, and write that down and authenticate it. And I'm thinking to myself, let's just assume that was the deal. Well, you know what? In all honesty, that's my helmet. What are you doing with it? That's stolen property, sir. I did not give that away to Joe Klecko. Thieves came to my house. I'm calling the police. I think the guy knew that I ain't going to win this. I'm going to let it go, but I'm going to keep the helmet. Keep my helmet.